Good morning. Welcome to ITS Connect. My name is Jennifer Loudiana, and I will be talking to you today about Google Forms, how to create Google Forms, some uses that you can have for them, and just an overall overview. As always, we give you an idea, and then what can happen is you can go back and look at some of the more advanced features on your own and use it as you will need to use it for your own environment. So what are Google Forms? Google Forms are creating online forms, or you can use them for quizzes that you can send out to other people. It integrates with Google Spreadsheet, so what's really nice is you can create a form and it'll automatically, if you allow it to, create a spreadsheet. So then you can go to that spreadsheet and you can sort, you can view the data, however you want to do that. It also will summarize them in a graphical format. So when you start getting responses, you might want to click on the summary and it will tell you what the results are. So if you had questions with maybe numbers 1 through 5, agree down to disagree, you would see a bar chart that would show you the responses, so you could get at a glance how those responses are. It also has some that it will show you in a pie chart, and then it will collect all the responses in one box, so you may want to cross-reference that with the spreadsheet. This is part of the Google Drive, Google Docs product with our Google Apps for Education. So it automatically, you have access to this free option within your Google Docs and Google Drive. So why would you use it? It's easy. One of the big features, it's easy to use. It integrates your data into a spreadsheet, and you can take that spreadsheet, you can copy it, you can sort it, you can manipulate it however that you need to do that. You can use it over time, so in an idea of having feedback, for example, for ITS Connect, we keep sending the same form and then all of our data goes into one spreadsheet, and then we can sort it, we can look at the comment section and things like that. You can also do it real time. You can create a survey, for example, ahead of time, and then you can share it with people and you can view the responses as they respond and then show the data for the summary. So if you were working with it in a classroom environment, if you wanted to do a presentation and you wanted people to answer it and show a summary if they had access to a computer during a class, you could do that as well. You can control who can see it. It's just like Google Docs. You can share. You can also control who receives the survey. So you can set it up for who exactly you want to send it to. You can also allow anonymity. So you can say, I don't want anybody's data, I just want them to answer the survey. You can also include the Case Western Reserve network ID from your respondents so that you can go back if you need to and talk to those people. So depending on how you set it up. If it's set up as a quiz, you probably want to have that data so you can see who has taken the quiz. If it's an assignment or if it's an answering in class, you can see who's answered that quiz. So how do you use it? You can go and find this a couple of ways. You can go directly to webdocs.case.edu, which is your Google Drive and Docs for your account. Log in, and you will be able to create it from there. Or if you're already in your email at webmail.case.edu, you can click on Drive in the black Google bar, and then it will open up Google Drive and your documents, and you can create it from there. There is a red big Create button. You click Create, and then there will be a list, if you've watched the Google Docs presentations before, of the different types of documents, and one of those is a form from the list. And once you create that, you can just get started. You can create all of your questions, then you can go through and create your email that you're going to send out. So I've opened up my computer, and you can see it's my Google Drive. So up here in the top black bar is where you want to click on to get to your Google Drive if you have not used it before. To create a form, you will go to the Create button, and you will get a drop down of all of the things that are in the Create area. What we want to look at today is forms. So if we click on Form, it's going to start walking us through a very simple wizard. So we can title our form. We can choose a theme. So if you want to choose the default, which is what most people use, if you want to choose the balloons, you can do that. Depending on what the theme is of your form, you can choose one of those and then click on OK, and it will get started. So on the top, you will see two options here. Require Case Western Reserve University login. So if it is a form that's specific to a project, research, a class, you may want to check that so that everyone logging in is going to be from Case Western. And then if you do want to collect their username, you would check the second box, so it will collect that as well. You can only collect the Case Western Reserve username. So if your project is for people outside of Case, you can actually do that with a form. However, you cannot collect their username information. And in that case, you would not want them to log in. So I'm not going to require sign-in, and then both boxes are unchecked. As we walk through the form, if you have your computer open and you want to open a separate browser window and walk through this with me, you can. You can do that as well. You can create a form live with me. You can enter your description if you want to. This form is to collect information. That's what I'll put today. And then you can start adding questions. So question title. If you want to have any help text, this is information for maybe explaining how to answer the question, might explain a little more detail on the question. You can enter that next. You can choose your type of question. It gives you text. If you want them to enter an essay form, paragraph text, you can have them do multiple choice and you would be able to enter the options. A checkbox, so if it's a question where you want them to check more than one thing, unlike multiple choice, you can use that. Choosing from a list, which is a drop-down list, and they can choose an item from that. Scale, 1 to 5, or you can use a grid question. So we'll try multiple choice, that's pretty common. Here you have go to based on answer, which is where you can set up branching for your questions. That's more advanced, so we won't do that today. We don't have a lot of time. And I want to go ahead and put in my options for my 3 questions, answers that you can choose from. You can make it a required question. So if you do have a survey and you want to make sure you collect certain information, for example, if you are asking people to put in their name, their phone number, their email address so that you can contact them later, those you would check the box required question so that you make sure that you always get that data and they cannot skip it. If I want to add more questions, I can go down here to add item. If you click on the drop down, you can choose right from there, but I want to ask another multiple choice question. And if I click that, it's going to give me another one. So I'm going to say question 2. And I'll go ahead and add a text question. So I'm going to add a paragraph text question. And it will give them a box and they can type in their answer. The difference between the paragraph text and the paragraph text give them a box that they can answer probably a couple hundred characters. The text is just a 1 line, so more of a fill in the blank or blank question. So I'm going to say we're good here. If you ever want to edit, you can click on the little pencil. That allows you to edit the questions. The duplicate, so if your question's very similar, maybe your answers are the same, but the question's different, you can duplicate it and then make changes. Or delete, so you can click on the trash can and delete that question. So as you're creating your form, you can go through and move things around. So if I want this question here to be below question number 2, I can drag it there. So I now have, or I want it to be on the top, I have it up there. If I want question 2 to be there, I'm going to change it to question 1, and I'm going to move it above the one that I had before. So now I have one question, and I have entered details about your experience. As I scroll down, the next section, so once you've created your questions in your questionnaire or survey, quiz, then the next section is your confirmation page. You can enter a message, so when someone finishes the questionnaire, they can click submit, and this is the page that comes up that says, thank you for submitting this, we will contact you later, thank you for entering your information, your quiz grade will be available at X time, but you can enter anything you want live, so after they've submitted it, this page will come up. And on that note, you can show a link. So if you want them to go back, you can say if you need to make changes, go back here. You can publish and show the results if they want to see what they entered on the form. And you can allow them to edit their responses, which means they can go back and change them and resubmit. So those are the three options that you have. So I'm going to go ahead and click Send Form. And now it's going to give me a bunch of more options that I can use to send my form. So it'll give me a link that I can copy and paste if you want to create your own email address or anything like that. If you click on Embed, you can embed the form. It'll give you the link and the information to embed the form on a web page so that you can constantly have the survey up. So if it's a feedback survey for a website or anything like that. I'm going to go back to my other options. You can share your link with Google+, Facebook, or Twitter. So if it's something you're sending out to students or the public, you can share it that way as well. And then lastly, you can send the form via email. And to do that, you would enter your email addresses or groups. So I'm going to send it to myself. And I'm going to send it to my public email address. You can send it to anyone outside of Case Western as long as you have it set that they don't have to log in to complete the survey. And then I'm going to submit it to myself, which is the person I'm logged in as, so that we can see what the email looks like. You can customize the message that goes out. So if I want to change this to survey response needed, I can do that, and then I can enter my custom message. And that's how you can set it up to send. Those are all of the different options. So I'm going to go ahead and click Send. So now it will go out and invite everyone. Are you sure you would like to invite users outside? And that's because I used a gmail.com address. So it's just double checking that I want to invite those people. I'm going to say OK. The next thing you can do is connect it to your spreadsheet. So you can choose how you want the responses. You want a new spreadsheet. Maybe you have multiple surveys that you're working on and you want them all to be in the same spreadsheet but a different tab. You can choose new sheet in an existing spreadsheet. So what it would do is you'd have another sheet on your spreadsheet. Also, if you wanted to always create a new spreadsheet for you, you can check that box and it will automatically create that. Or you can choose keep responses only in forms, and there will be no spreadsheet set up for that. So I have not used that. That's a new feature. I would recommend always using the spreadsheet option because that's what will give you the summary. It will also give you a backup. So if something happens to your form, you're going to have the spreadsheet within Google Docs to reference later. So I'm going to click on Create. And now you'll notice at the top, I have View Responses, I have View Live Form. So if I want to look at the form as people are using it, I can also look at responses in the drop-down, and this is where I'm going to see summary of responses. I can view the responses. I can unlink the form if I'm done using it. If it's on a public place, I can unlink it so no one can use it. And if I want to delete everything, all of the answers, I can do that from here as well. So I'm going to go in and show you what it looks like in your email. I did email it to my Casey Tester email. And this is a nice thing. When it emails to you, here's the email I sent, survey response needed. They're going to see my message on the top. If they have any trouble, it will always send them the link. So they can cut and paste that link into another browser. They can click on it. It will open in another browser. And then within your email is your form. So users can actually fill this out in their email, click submit, and they don't need to go anywhere else to fill it out. So that's always nice because you'll have your description of what the information is in your message, and then they can go straight through and fill it out. So it will help with responses as well, not having people go to a separate URL to fill out the survey. So if I fill out this survey, I'm going to put in my answers. Whoops. And I'm going to click submit. You are submitting a form. I'm going to click OK. And it says my response has been recorded. This is the page that you can customize. This is the confirmation page. So if you do want to put more information here, I really suggest making sure that you fill that out. Otherwise, they're going to get the default, which is this, that says your response has been recorded, and then it has the name of the form. Also in that, you could have the results show up. So that would show up on this page for the user as well. So now if I go back to my Drive, Google Drive, I should see under my Drive, here is my Connect form. So I filled it out. I'm one person. So if I click on it, it's going to open my spread form. I want to go to responses, and I want to view responses is what you want to select to see the spreadsheet. So this is what the spreadsheet will look like. It'll have the date and time stamp. If you wanted to record the network ID, it would have a column for that. And then it has the questions across the top, and it'll have the answers going down in the columns. So that's what the spreadsheet will look like. If I want to go back, and I want to go back to my form, and I want to look at responses, summary of responses. So since only one person, this is an example. In pie charts, it's showing me what it looks like because the answers are ABC multiple choice. It's putting them in a little pie chart so you would see different colors. I'm going to show you an example of one that has been filled out. We have a survey that we'll send out after this session for ITS Connect, asking you some questions about it. And that actually is a Google form. So if I go to my Drive and items shared with me, if I open up this survey and I click on form, show summary of responses, now you can see a little better example. It has a bar chart for some of the questions. Here's a pie chart that's set up in the middle here that you can see that was from a range question. It also has another bar chart, rate the video quality. These are rating questions. And then at the bottom, when you will attend it. And here is an example of comments. They will just show up in one big box. So that's why if you have comment fields, you may want to go ahead and allow the spreadsheet and not have this. Make sure a spreadsheet's connected to your form and not have it without a spreadsheet, because if there are comments, you'll be able to read those separately. Otherwise, in the summary, they're going to be in one box. So that's an overview of how Google Forms work. You can set them up, as I said, however you want to. If you are doing them live, you want to probably set it up ahead of time and then share it with your class at the time and have it ready to go, and then they can answer it, so then you can show that summary of responses right away. So I'm going to go back to Connect here. I'm going to stop sharing and go back to my PowerPoint. I had a couple of things that I had listed for help. If you type in Google Forms, if you go to google.com and type search Google Forms, it'll actually take you to a really nice page that walks you through step by step and has a lot more options. I talked about a few things that were advanced. That's a good place to get information on those. And also at help.case.edu, we do have some information on Google Docs, Google Drive, which includes forms. But actually creating the forms, I would look through Google's help information there because they go into more detail. And as I said, the confirmation admission page, changing that, and the way it's set up actually just changed not long ago. So there are a lot more features than they have had with Google Forms. So that's all I had today, was an introduction to Google Forms. We have a few minutes left. I have a question from Amanda. Can you have users skip questions based on their responses to their questions? There is some branching available where next to the question, I believe it had a checkbox and you could route it. I would check into that with the Google Forms help. That is a new feature. Are there any other questions? I have some typing. So I hope this is a good overview for you. I know I've had questions about Google Forms and how they work, and I really like the summary. It gives you a good at-a-glance object, and if you're actually doing a presentation or a report, what's nice is then you can cut and paste those graphs and use them as images within your PowerPoint or your demonstration to show that information as well. So are there any other questions? Would you like me to show anything else again today? We have about 3 or 4 minutes left. Looks like we might have a question coming up. All of these videos are recorded for ITS Connect. You can find them at help.case.edu under the training on the left and the videos section. We've been doing them going on about 2 years now, so there's quite a bit of information. We have covered all of the Google applications that we have, and then we also covered Google Forms today. I did a session on Google Slide Rocket, which we do have access to, as well as information on telepresence and some other tools that are available to us on campus. After this session, I will be sending out a survey to everyone, and if you could please fill that out, it's going to ask what you would like to see in Adobe Connect sessions for ITS Connect. If you have any suggestions, if you have further questions, please let us know. It is an anonymous survey, so if you do want a response, please make sure to enter in the comments area your email or phone number so that we can get back to you if you do have specific questions about a session that you have watched or this session today when you answer the survey. So since we don't have any more questions, we'll go ahead and wrap it up today. Again, this was about Google Forms. You can find them at help.case.edu when it's recorded. It should be there in a few weeks posted, so if you want to review. And if you have any questions at all, you can get information at help.case.edu or by calling the service desk, or you can contact myself or any others in the training group at help@case.edu. Thank you for attending today.